If you haven't yet watched the full Lex Fridman interview with Marc Andreessen, it's called The Future of the Internet, Technology and AI. You want to do that. I'm telling you. Of course, that would be something you want to do after you finish watching this video. Anyway, this is one of the best interviews I've ever heard Lex do, maybe one of the best interviews I've ever heard, covers a full range of topics, some of which are absolutely mind-blowing in their scope and depth and understanding. Anyway, it's worth every bit of the 3+ hours to listen to every single word. I just can't recommend it enough. This is Randy Kirk. If you like this little interruption in the normal finance-driven and money-driven, where we can take a little deeper look at a couple of the giants in industry, speaking to one another and talking, in this particular case, about Elon Musk. That's why I've gone to the trouble to transcribe it word by word. Anyway, this is not going to take away from my Wednesday video. I'll be doing that later. I'll hopefully post it around 4 o'clock California time, 7 o'clock Eastern, which will give you the midweek take on how things are going with Tesla. Kind of a nice day today. I was happy to see Tesla up. Again, much better than the market. Anyway, and so that video will be out later today if you want to hit subscribe and notify in order to make sure you don't miss that. I will hopefully get it up by 4 because I am going to be interviewing and recording an interview for tomorrow with Larry Goldberg, and we'll be talking about some very interesting stuff that's been bothering me about this whole what is Dojo and what does it really do? You're not going to want to miss that. I think you'll have some of the same questions that I do. Okay, so, and then of course, Patreon would be great. Let's get into this particular video. I'm just going to go into the part right at the end. I mean, if you want to skip to it and hear it yourself, it's way at the end of the interview, but I went ahead and just transcribed it. Let's talk about who Marc Andreessen is. He, in case you don't know, I mean, you probably do, but he was the co-author of Mosaic, which was the first widely used web browser that had a graphical user interface. So, back in 1994, when the internet first came out, there was no graphics. It was all text. And then he came up with the web browser. He co-founded Netscape. That, of course, was what made him a billionaire because he turned around and sold that. He was the general founder and general partner of Silicon Valley venture capital firm Andreessen Horowitz, which became very famous for a lot of the plays that they made. And then he was co-founder and later sold the software company Opsware to Hewlett-Packard. He's also the co-founder of Ning. I've never heard of Ning. Let me know in the comments below. What is Ning? It's a company that provides a platform for social networking websites. He sits on the board of directors of Meta, and he was one of the 6 inductees into the World Wide Web Hall of Fame when they had their first international conference in 1994. So as of February 2023, his net worth is estimated to only be $1.7 billion. So not quite in Elon's category, but he's done rather well for himself. So Lex is asking him late in the interview to opine on the great business leaders. And they get, of course, to the subject of Elon Musk. And Mark starts off this way. He says, Larry Page was asked one time what his approach to philanthropy was. And he said his approach was to just give all of his money to Elon. So I thought it was a great way to start. So then he asked him, okay, so what about him as a leader? So Andreessen says, he's back to the future. He's doing the most leading edge things in the world with a really deeply old school approach. To find comparisons to Elon, you have to go to people like Henry Ford, Thomas Watson, Andrew Carnegie, Howard Hughes, Leland Stanford, John D. Rockefeller, right? What were called the bourgeois capitalists, like the hardcore business owner operators who basically built industrialized society. And then he throws out another name, Vanderbilt. So yeah, we can all agree that those were the major movers and shakers. He's left out another, he did say Andrew Carnegie. I'm sorry, he did not leave that out. He left out Bell. And, there's a few more greats back from that time. A lot of the oil magnates, a lot of the newspaper guys could fall into some of these same categories. Anyway, he says he goes on to say, and it's a level of hands-on commitment and depth in business coupled with an absolute priority towards truth and towards how to put it scientific and technology down to first principles. So he understands the concept of first principles. This is a hard concept to get. I've done some videos on that because it was hard for me to understand. I'm not sure I've got it yet, but this first principles idea is so critical. Elon uses it in everything. We've just seen him using it in advertising. How much more first principles can you get than a text-only Google ad that is laser focused and very inexpensive to do your testing, but for his standards, at least, not for small business, for him. So first principles across the board, everything he does is first principles. So he says he's just unbelievably absolute. He's really ideal in that the only people he's ever really talking to are the engineers, which helps him to stay with first principles and with science and technology. And he says he has less tolerance than anybody I've ever met. Like, he does not tolerate, he only wants ground truth on every single topic. No messing around. Just give me straight up what's going on. And of course, we've heard famously, and I put it in my book, The Elon Musk Method, we've heard famously that he does not want to be told that it can't be done. He probably doesn't even want to hear, after he's told people that he wants it done by a certain date, that it can't be done by that date. So Andreessen goes on to say, he runs his business directly, day to day, and he's devoted to getting to this ground truth in every single topic. He's asked, was it a good decision? I mean, this is Lex. Was it a good decision to buy Twitter? Another quotable quote here from Andreessen. He says, I have developed a view in life to never second guess Elon Musk. He then goes on to talk about the whole idea of starting a car company and a rocket company simultaneously, and both successfully. And about that, he says, so after he pulled those two off, well, then, like, okay, fine. Whatever my opinion had been, at some point, you just have to bet on the person. Yeah, that's it. You bet on the person. And I buy that 100%. So he goes on, he says, oh yeah, he continues, he also drives resentment. Like, he's a magnet for resentment and resentful people, a magnet for resentful people. Like, his critics are the most miserable, like, resentful people in the world. Like, it's almost a perfect match, like the most idealized, technologist of the century, coupled with, his critics are just bitter as can be. And I mean, it's sort of very darkly comic to watch. Anyway, I couldn't help when I heard all of this, and it was at the very end of this 3-hour and 10-minute video, I knew that there's only a very small fraction of the people in the world that were going to get to that. And I was like, no, I have to share this with my audience. I hope that you've enjoyed this. If you did, please hit like. I'm looking for other opportunities like this. I'm always looking for ways to better understand the Elon Musk. That's why I wrote the Elon Musk Method. You don't want to read the method unless you are a business owner, maybe even an ex-business owner that would love to just kind of see whether what you did kind of fit in with some of what Elon Musk does, or you're a wannabe. Someday you'd like to own a business, or maybe you're a high-level manager. There are 16 things on there, kind of like what I just went over, that go into what makes Elon Musk an amazing as a businessman, and how those apply actually right down to a guy like me whose biggest company was 100 employees. So, and a lot of my companies were 3 or 4 or 5 employees, and a lot of my consulting clients are 1 employee. So these things apply right down to the very smallest small businesses, and that's what the Elon Musk Method was all about. The Elon Musk mission is about the companies, about the opportunity. That's why you would buy that one. Okay, so like if you liked, subscribe, hit notify if you want to be sure you don't want to miss this conversation I'm going to have with Larry tomorrow about what does Dojo really do outside of FSD. I'm very confused by that. Maybe Larry will help me get less confused. All right, and then join Patreon. You'll never be sad that you did, and there's a 7-day free trial right now, so why not? All right, it's been great talking to you.